7 subtle signs that you're more attractive than you think. Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and thought, could I be just a little bit more attractive? Maybe you focus on what you don't like and forget about the amazing things you have. But don't worry, this happens to everyone. Did you know that our minds are kind of funny and sometimes only focus on what we think is wrong? The most interesting part is that the way we see ourselves isn't always how others see us. And here's the best part. There are several hidden signs that show you could be way more amazing than you think. Want to know what these signs are? Pay attention, because the first one is really interesting. Lack of compliments. Have you ever thought that sometimes, when you're all dressed up and feeling great, no one says, "Wow, you look amazing today"? It might feel strange or even discouraging, but in reality, it could be a sign that you're more attractive than you think. Here's why. People often assume you already know this. They think, why mention the obvious? She must hear this all the time. And believe it or not, some people even avoid complimenting you because they feel insecure. They're afraid of looking too impressed or unsure of how you'll react. Sometimes, without even realizing it, they get shy and don't say anything. But this doesn't mean they don't notice. Quite the opposite. They find you so striking that they think you don't need reassurance. But when the compliment finally comes, have you noticed how it feels almost special? Why does this happen? Sincere and rare compliments. Have you noticed how some compliments feel more meaningful? Those you get occasionally that make your heart race, as if the person truly took a moment to see you in a special way? It's not the usual "you're beautiful" or "I like that." Those are so common they lose their meaning. But sincere compliments, the ones that come naturally, without anyone forcing it or expecting anything in return, have a powerful effect. They show that the person really paid attention to you, saw something unique and authentic in who you are, not just on the surface. The best part is that these compliments often happen spontaneously, without any planning or expectation. They're like spontaneous moments, where someone, out of nowhere, says something that touches your heart because they really noticed something that makes you shine in your own way. When this happens, you feel that, in some way, you were noticed truly, without hurry, without trying to please, just by the authenticity of the moment. These rare compliments, because they're so sincere, stay with you as a reminder that what you have is unique and special. And speaking of things that truly touch, here's the next sign. Spontaneous smiles. Has it ever happened that you're walking around, not expecting anything, and suddenly a stranger smiles at you, as if there was no reason at all? At first, it might seem strange or even meaningless, but these smiles are actually much more than just a simple gesture. Often, they're a direct reflection of the positive energy you transmit, even without realizing it. When you're feeling good and radiating positive vibes, the people around you pick up on that, and their response is often a spontaneous smile. Smiling is an instinctive reaction, almost automatic, that happens when something or someone pleases us in some way, even without words or a logical explanation. It's like that moment, that exchanged glance, makes the person express their approval simply but genuinely. What's interesting is that this smile could be a sign that you're radiating something that people notice, something beyond appearance, something captured by the energy you give off. It doesn't have to be a big or exaggerated smile, but that sincere one, which happens naturally, is a sign that your presence has something positive that spreads to those around you. And speaking of things that happen effortlessly, here comes the next one. Persistent glances. Have you ever noticed that, sometimes, you're in a crowded place and feel like someone is staring at you more than usual? It's not just your imagination. You might be unknowingly attracting the attention of those around you. This happens because, somehow, something about you stands out and draws curious glances. It could be the way you dress, your smile, or even the energy you project. There's a scientific explanation for this. Studies show that our brains have a natural tendency to focus on things that are visually appealing. In other words, when something grabs our attention, our brain activates areas linked to pleasure and reward. And guess what that attractive thing is? You. Your appearance, your unique way of being, your presence. All of these have the power to capture people's attention, even if they don't realize it. And the best part is, often, this happens without you needing to do anything special. It's simply what you radiate, what's natural to you, that makes people look your way. This is more common than it seems and happens instinctively. Proximity of people. Have you ever noticed that, sometimes, people start to get closer to you or initiate a conversation for no apparent reason. Like, suddenly, they're drawn to something in you? This isn't by chance, you know? Often, this happens because you have something that attracts people naturally, something that pulls them in without them realizing. It could be your personality, your smile, or even the energy you project. When we're drawn to someone, it's not just because of how they look, but because of a unique feeling that person gives us, something that makes us feel comfortable and welcomed, like they have a charm and aura that makes us want to be around them. Sometimes, you don't even need to say much. Sometimes, a simple gesture, like a light touch on the arm or a more focused gaze, makes the person feel a connection and want to stay close. This happens because, almost instinctively, we're attracted to those who have something captivating, something that makes us want to share a moment of our time with them. It's not just about the words you say, but how you make others feel. And often, this type of closeness is a natural response to the impact you have on people, even if you're unaware of it. Nervous or strange reactions. Have you ever noticed that, sometimes, someone seems a little uneasy around you, starts to stutter, or even gets a little nervous for no clear reason? It might seem funny or strange, but in fact, this could be a direct reflection of the impact you have on the people around you. When we're near someone we find very attractive or interesting, our brain automatically switches to "I want to impress" or "I want to make a good impression" mode. And that's when things can start to go wrong. Instead of staying calm and natural, the person might get tangled up, stumble over their words, or even make awkward movements, as if trying to do something right but losing themselves in nervousness. This happens because, when we encounter someone who catches our attention in a positive way, we want to show our best side, but the pressure of trying to seem perfect or interesting can lead to these nervous reactions. So, when this happens, it's a clear sign that your presence has such an impact that the person feels a little out of themselves, like they're trying to impress and sometimes become too self-conscious. What's interesting is that often, this has nothing to do with you doing something special. It's just how people naturally react when someone with such strong energy or an attractive appearance is around. Surprise at your insecurities. Has it ever happened that you shared an insecurity with someone and they reacted in surprise, like they couldn't believe you had doubts about yourself? This happens because, to outsiders, you project an image of confidence, as if you're always sure of what you do and who you are. When you open up and talk about something that makes you insecure, people's reactions are usually of surprise, because they can't imagine that you, who seem so strong and confident, could have any doubts or concerns about yourself. This shows how people tend to see you very differently than you see yourself. They notice qualities in you, both physical and in your personality, that you may not have even noticed or don't value enough. And deep down, it's a reflection of how your presence and the way you carry yourself project an image of strength and confidence, even though inside, you have your own uncertainties. This only reinforces how your energy and how you present yourself to the world make others see you in a way that is often very different from how you feel. Now that you know these signs, take a moment and reflect, how many of these have happened to you? Sometimes, we don't realize the impact we have on people around us, but when we think more carefully, we can see that many of these signs are part of our daily lives. Maybe it's time to reconsider how you see yourself. Sometimes, we're too hard on ourselves, focusing on our insecurities and difficulties, forgetting how much our energy, presence, and even just smiling can attract others in a unique and powerful way. Attraction goes far beyond physical appearance. It's about how you behave, how you transmit confidence and kindness, how people feel when they're around you. The way you relate to the world around you is one of the things that most attracts attention. If these ideas made sense to you, why not share them with someone who could benefit from them too? Who knows? By passing on this reflection, you might help someone else realize how special they are too. After all, we all have something unique that makes us attractive, but sometimes we need someone to remind us of that. And finally, always remember, you're more incredible and impactful than you think. The world around you notices so much more about you than you realize. 7 subtle signs that you're more attractive than you think.